The Civil War began in 1861 when the Southern states seceded from the United States. By the middle of the war, both the Union and the Confederacy were experiencing heavy losses. Most of the major battles won were being fought on land, but control of the oceans and major ports was also largely important. The Union used its navy to block southern ports and prevent the Confederacy from trading or getting supplies from other countries. This blockade put a lot of pressure on the South. The Confederacy did not have as many ships, factories, or resources as the North. Because of this, Southern leaders and engineers had to look for new ideas and new technology to try and break the blockade. February 17th, 1864. In the dark waters off Charleston Harbor, a small metal submarine moves slowly toward a Union warship. Minutes later, the USS Housatonic is sunk in an explosion. This marks the first time in history that a submarine sinks an enemy warship. The submarine responsible was the Confederate vessel known as the H.L. Hunley. During the Civil War, most ships were still made of wood and traveled on the surface of the water. Submarines were unheard of, and many people did not believe they could work at all. Naval battles usually involved large surface ships, such as the newer ironclads and their older counterparts, large wooden warships. By 1864, the Union Navy was blocking major southern ports, including Charleston, South Carolina. This blockade stopped the Confederacy from trading their cotton, which was their main source of funding, and also stopped them from receiving any supplies. Because regular ships could not break through, Confederate engineers began searching for new and unusual ideas. One of these ideas was to build a submarine that could move underwater and attack without being seen. The submarine they built, the H.L. Hunley, was about 40 feet long and only 4 feet wide. It was a narrow iron tube that held 8 men. There was no engine. Instead, the crew sat on a bench and turned a long crank by hand to make the propeller move. The submarine used ballast tanks and hand pumps to go up and down in the water. A single small candle helped the crew see and also showed how much oxygen was left. The Hunley carried a spar torpedo, which was an explosive mounted on a long pole sticking out from the front. This is shown in the top right and down here. It's on the front. So just like go up to the warship, poke it with this, and blow up. Yeah. The Hunley was very dangerous to operate. It sank twice during testing in 1863. 13 crew members died in these accidents, including Horace Lawson Hunley, the man the submarine was named after. Each time it sank, the Confederates raised it and repaired it. Despite the dangers, new crews continued to volunteer because they believed the submarine might help break the Union blockade. On the night of February 17th, 1864, the Hunley set out to attack the USS Housatonic, a Union warship guarding the harbor. The submarine approached slowly and attached its explosive device to the ship's side. The blast created a large hole in the Housatonic, and the ship sank in only a few minutes. This event became the first successful submarine attack in military history. Despite the attack having worked, the Hunley never returned to shore. People watching from land reported seeing a blue lantern signal from the submarine, but after that, nothing else was seen. For more than a century, no one knew what had happened to the crew. Here's a short simulation of the attack on the USS Housatonic. In the year 2000, the Hunley was discovered and raised from the seafloor near Charleston. Inside the submarine, the remains of the 8 crew members were found still sitting at their stations. This showed that they probably did not panic or try to escape. Many researchers believe the crew died instantly from the shock of the explosion. The Hunley is now being cleaned and studied at a conservation center in Charleston. The H.L. Hunley was a small and risky experiment. but it changed the future of naval warfare. Although it did not change the outcome of the Civil War, it proved that submarines could be used in battle. The ideas tested in the Hunley helped shape modern submarines used around the world today. The H.L. Hunley was a very simple machine compared to later submarines, but it introduced ideas that became important in the 1900s. Even though it was hand-powered and had many safety problems, it showed that underwater attacks were possible. This inspired engineers in the United States and in Europe to look more seriously at submarine design. Submarines would go on to become integral parts of war in the coming century. The sources I used to research the H.L. Hunley were the Warren Losh Conservation Center, National Park Service, the Charleston Navy Yard, Naval History and Heritage Command, Raising the Hunley, and the Smithsonian.